this particular show at KUTV Kenya on Facebook, at KUTV_Kenya on Twitter, and KUTV Kenya on YouTube. My name is IRENE. Many thanks indeed for joining us tonight. But before we get into the nitty-gritties of this particular show, let me allow my guest to introduce himself. Kindly.
Thank you, Irene. I'm delighted to be on this show. My name is Peter Njoroge, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I specialize in several areas of law, including human rights law, environmental law, and tort law. As a lawyer, I'm passionate about advocating for people's rights, and granting those who need a voice, someone to air their voice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. You have talked about giving people who do not have a voice to have a voice, which, you know, it's connected to the discussion that you're having concerning the issue of LGBTQ community. They have tried to have a voice for some time now, but in between it has been stifled in, you know, politics that we have in the country, as well as what people will term as ethics. But before we get into what they're agitating for, or looking into the intricacies of what we are discussing, first let's get a connection of what the law says concerning this particular community, because 20 years ago this was not an issue, but now it is a debate not only in Kenya but world over. So looking into our constitution, did it envisage this particular group? What does the law say concerning the LGBTQ plus community?
First and foremost, our constitution, in particular Article 45, the drafters of the constitution did not envisage a situation where we will have same-sex relationships or same-sex marriages, because Article 45 provides that adults of different genders can enter into marriage relationships. From Article 45 of our Constitution, we have our Marriage Act, which also provides for a marriage relationship between heterosexual couples, that is, a marriage between a woman and a man. However, we see that given that persons of the LGBTQ community are individuals and are considered persons under the constitutions of Kenya, Article 27 of our constitution prohibits discrimination of any kind. Article 27 in itself does not provide expressly for sexual orientation as a ground for discrimination. However, by looking at it in its entirety, it lists grounds including sex, including gender, and our courts have interpreted that provision to a larger extent to prohibit discrimination on any person, including members of the LGBTQ community.
All right. So when we look at the different articles of the Constitution and the freedom and rights that we have in the country, do we see a situation whereby there is a clash? Because they might say, they might contextualize marriage as heterosexual, all right?
Yes.
But then now, when it comes to freedom of association, I can associate with a man or a woman depending on how what I'm comfortable with. Is that therefore to mean that there seems to be some sort of clashing there in terms of what the Constitution says?
I forgot to point out our penal code in section 162, 163, and 165 prohibits what is considered to be carnal knowledge against the order of nature. So homosexual acts have been considered to be carnal knowledge. To be carnal knowledge against unnatural. So they're saying any person who commits carnal knowledge, whether knowingly or is permitted by another person, commits an offense, which is a felony under the Kenyan law, and they're subjected up to 14 years imprisonment, up to 21 years, actually a minimum of 14 to 21 years imprisonment. However, in the recent ruling by the Supreme Court and in the High Court judgment, in the lower court judgment, because the Supreme Court was sitting in appeal of the High Court and the Court of Appeal judgment. The judges of the court made an observation that even in Kenya, those people purporting to be, say, lesbians or gays, they are not actually being punished. You and me can bear witness to this. So, in itself, they said, because the major reason that case went to court was because forming or the right to association of this LGBTQ community, they wanted to register an organization to agitate for their rights. But the NGO board, the board that's responsible for registering associations in Kenya, denied them or rejected their registration. Actually, when they took the names for approval, the NGO board rejected on the basis of section 162, 163, and 165. But the court said there's nowhere in those provisions where the right to association of LGBTQ community has been barred or infringed upon. Yes.
We'll get into that particular ruling because it created an uproar by politicians and of course the social circles. We saw what the church had to say concerning that, and it is what brought the debate that we're having currently. But in this country, we have seen that if we want to push for a change, or we want to make reforms or to amend, say, the constitution, we must be thinking from same front. There must be a push from different stakeholders. In this case, to mean the politician, the civil society, the activists, the professional bodies, having one voice. When you look and you see what has been happening in this country, what has been the view of society concerning LGBTQ? And this not only politicians, but also activists and human rights, to say that they somewhat are having a one voice on this to say no, or they are somewhat pushing to have this thing come of age, say in 10 years or 20 years to come. What has been the overall view of the society in terms of this particular community?
Looking into the Kenyan society, we can say that Kenya is largely comprised of Muslim and Christians. From looking at whatever religious leader from these religious groups have been advocating for, they say that the religious books in themselves consider homosexuality as a sin. Moving from religion, our political leaders, including our former president Uhuru Kenyatta, even our opposition leader Raila Odinga, and now President Ruto, we see at first they took really hard stances on matters LGBTQ, but with time, some of them have said that maybe we need to consider having a conversation on these particular groups. However, just recently after the ruling by the Supreme Court, President Ruto and even DP Gachagua seemed to go back on whatever they had said earlier, because they said that same-sex marriages can't be allowed in Kenya. However, I find it that they jumped ship. Actually,
they took a soft spot as perceived to the hard stance that they had.
Yes. We can see their views are not really. I'll say they keep shifting. They keep shifting.
Okay. Now, given that this is a new group, right? This is something that was not there for years before, but it's now a new thing that is pushing us to have a debate, because not only it's not something that it's affecting adults only.
Yes.
It is also affecting our children. It seems to be a vice that can be inculcated in a child, say from 12 years to as he or she grows. If that mentality comes in, then it is something that he might find him or herself identifying with.
Yes.
Has the Constitution had situations whereby we have been forced to sit down and sort of amend it because of such unforeseen changes that happen? The reason I'm saying this is because during the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, he used to be advocating to say that The constitution cannot be a rigid document. It is subject to changes to suit us. It is not something that's supposed to rule us, but us to create it in a way that it creates an amicable environment from all stakeholders. Have we ever had a situation whereby we have been forced to have a sit down and change the constitution? And why has this conversation about changing the constitution on this particular group not been quite vocal, yet it affects our children, who are the leaders of tomorrow, so to speak?
Okay, on that issue, I think I'll say our leaders have been on a go slow on this particular issue. As you said, a constitution should take into account changes that are happening. Okay, issues of LGBTQ are issues that are now, I'll say, universally, they are major issues. And maybe as a country, we may need to relook into it. However, we find even our legislators, just the other day, Honorable Peter Kaluma actually has tabled into Parliament a bill called Family Protection Bill. In a nutshell, is suggesting that this bill should be, among the things that it should encompass is protection of our kids in pre-primary school, primary school, and even secondary school. It's saying that in our curricula, issues to do with LGBTQ, issues to do with masturbation, issues to do with what else? Yeah, essentially those ones, they should not be included in our curriculum, since he finds that this is subjecting our kids to issues they should not actually be susceptible to. Another thing has been, actually, you see, in as much as a country and as a nation, we will say that our constitution protects, say, our children from such things. We see channels such as Netflix nowadays, we see that they're trying to impose
so
yes,
this
exactly.
is something that we're calling now vice now is becoming
exactly.
part of us.
Yes, it's becoming part of us. And you see, just the other day, if you can remember, when we were younger, when, say, a soap opera was running and people would say kids on live TV, you will cringe. And then with time, because of being introduced to such things, you start developing a substance to it. With time, they started introducing now those LGBTQ content. At first, again, we will cringe, but with time, people are starting to accept such things.
Okay, now which begs the question, because if our politicians and the social circles, that is to mean the activists and the churches, do not want to have this particular debate, how then did they allow it to get to this particular point? Because our neighboring country in Uganda, they have put in place draconian bills to sort of curtail this particular group. But here in Kenya, we want to shy or be a bit rigid in changing the constitution to allow this particular group. Yet in the first place, the preventive measure that we could have done to ensure that these contents are not part of us, they have made their way. We've seen countries like Afghan and other nations in the Muslim territory. They have been quite strict in terms of the content source to ensure this particular community does not thrive. Does it now send pretense in terms of they want to talk about it and say no, but in terms of ensuring that this debate does not get to our children, they have been a bit, they've shown a bit of laxity?
To respond to that, I'll say, as you've alluded, countries like Uganda have really draconian laws. And if we go back there, we see that immediately after, say, Museveni announced that his country will not be permitting LGBTQ, US came in quickly to say that they wouldn't, to condemn that. And the implication of that was that there wouldn't be legal aids, there wouldn't be financial aids to Uganda. So I'm trying to think the reason as to why, say, African countries are taking soft stances on matters, say, LGBTQ, it's because, yes, and most of our leaders are saying that matters LGBTQ are Western ideas that are being imposed on us because they want to drive their agenda. And basically, for us to, if you go against such topics, your financial aid will be cut off. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation for Kenya and African countries.
Okay. Now, when you see our politicians in terms of, say in Uganda, they put in place the draconian bill. So when you were supposed to sign it, I think it was last week, but they pushed that particular signing because there had been some calls from activists and lawyers who told Museveni, no, I think give it a little bit more time. Here in Kenya, looking into our space, we attempt to be quite a liberal nation. Are we foreseeing a situation whereby we might put in place laws to ensure that this community gets a space? Because again, it's catch-22 situation. You're balancing this particular issue, our religious matters, and also the financial aid that we're getting from these countries. Given that we're largely liberal, are we foreseeing a situation where we might change our laws to allow this particular community?
I'm not quite sure about that, but I'd like to point at something. Our constitution, in Article 28, provides for the right to human dignity. This right has also been provided in international instruments, which Kenya is a party to by dint of Article 25 of our Constitution, which provides that general rules of international law forms part of Kenya and laws ratified by Kenya. So we're trying to say we have a person who has a different sexual orientation, identifies as, say, an LGBTQ person. But what you're trying to say is, in as much as this person's right is not expressly provided for in our Constitution, they are still protected by certain tenets of our Constitution. For instance, they are protected from cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. Because in Kenya, I think it's public knowledge that members of LGBTQ community face stigmatization, they face violence, including, and to point out, going back, the biggest champions for the LGBTQ community has been the civil society, and in particular Eric Gitari. There's the famous Eric Gitari case. He's been championing for the rights of these people. So we are saying that in as much as our laws don't provide for the rights of these people, but given that they are human beings, okay, given that they deserve the right to human dignity, they deserve not to be subjected to torture, they deserve not to be beaten to death, they deserve to live with free will in Kenya. Okay. Yes. All right. I think we'll leave it there for this particular first part of the discussion, because we have to take a short break and then we'll be right back. And in our second session, we'll be looking into the Supreme Court ruling that was given a few months ago, I think in the month of February. What are the implications of that, and what is the way forward concerning this particular community that has caused a raging debate in the political and social circles? Stay with us.
This is my jam down.
I say manami, I will never give up. Na hata nikisota the way. Show me something.
Everybody wanna feel like me.
For you, it's like a river.
Real thing, if I never mama, I wouldn't believe it.
Hear me when I say just like. Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo, kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za tarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani, swahibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalonukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Thank you for staying with us. So you're talking about the issue of the LGBTQ community and what the law says surrounding that, given the raging debate that has been ongoing in our social circles and causing a clash between different groups, that is religious groups and civil society, as well as politicians and development partners. In this segment, we're looking into the Supreme Court ruling that gave them a right to association, questioning what does that particular ruling implicate to that particular community, or how does it help in that particular issue that some term as a genuine group while others term it as a vice. Now, Peter, looking into the Supreme Court ruling, the right to association, that they've been given a right to register an NGO, it raised the question on how the bench looked into that, given them that particular right, when the penal code has outlawed some of the things that the community are doing. You will say, yes, they have been given a right to register an NGO, and that does not mean that they have contravened the penal code. But don't we see a cutting when it comes to, the right to associate and them contravening the penal code, given the freedom to be in one sort of setup?
Okay, to answer you, the Supreme Court came from, to start with, the Supreme Court was sitting in appeal of the judgment of the High Court and the Court of Appeal on the matter. And before the Supreme Court rendered its decision, it pointed out categorically that it was not going to discuss on decriminalization of the penal code, or legitimization of the LGBTQ community or same-sex marriages. But rather, it was basically addressing the issues that were raised in the lower courts. And these issues was whether the NGO board, the NGO coordination board, was constitutionally right in rejecting to approve registration of this community, and two, whether by rejecting to approve their registration, they were violating their right to discrimination. And so we see that the right to association as enshrined in our constitution, it provides that all persons are entitled to the right to association. And a person, as defined by the constitution, is nowhere, and again, to point out, in the same Article 36, it says that a right, or basically the constitution, a right can only be limited subject to Article 24, which includes if it's a matter of national interest, or among many others. And so the court pointed out that LGBTQ community, they form part of the people of Kenya, and in essence they're entitled to their right to association. But again, it went on further to state that if these people commit offenses as outlined in the Penal Code section 162, 163, and 165, they'll be liable.
But Peter Pomerus, don't you think it has opened a can of worms, so to speak, in terms of if LGBTQ community has been given a right to register an NGO, tomorrow we'll have the pedophiles go and register an NGO, because they too have a right to associate, and they're humans in the Kenyan setup, so they have they're guaranteed to the freedom and rights that we have in this nation. Don't you think that move opened a can of worms in terms of giving these particular groups who have questionable, not character, they have questionable issues in terms of our ethical matters, given that Kenyans, we are a strict religious nation. That move didn't open doors for other vices to find a way of, registering their association, because indeed they have a right to associate.
I don't know the reasoning of the Supreme Court judges, but I don't think it opened a can of worms, as you said. This is because if a pedophile is known in Kenya today, and he has been, say, reported or indicted, they won't walk free. Okay? The difference is that if someone comes out and say that they are homosexual, which you have said even in Kenya, in social media, we've not seen the police arresting them or someone reporting them that these people are homosexual. So I'd say homosexual is considered generally a social vice. But
and pedophile is more a criminal.
yeah, it's criminal. In as much as it has been criminalized in our penal code, we've not really seen anyone being indicted or convicted in a court of law for homosexual acts. Yeah.
But if these things get to mega proportions, okay, you will escape with an argument that indeed pedophiles, it's a criminal offense, which it is, but homosexuality is more of a social offense, given that it's more about the morals and what we are used to, that it's man and woman and not woman and woman and not man and man. But the side effects of this particular social, offense sometimes triples to become a criminal offense. We have had cases of sodomy, which is a criminal offense, but mostly it happens in that particular social offense. So if you find this issue that they cut across in some of the cases. The recent one of the recent cases that we have there was that gentleman who it was said that allegations were made that he was sodomized before he was thrown down from the 5th floor. It was in Kasarani. It was the same issue concerning the issue of a social offense. So given that these issues cut across, could they be curtailed at the very start before we say it's more of a social before it gets to a criminal? We should curtail them at the very start.
I'll say it's quite challenging. Now, given that we have these ruling, and as we know, a ruling by the Supreme Court, forms a law in Kenya. So I think, maybe the Supreme Court can relook into it, so that, it doesn't actually say corrupt Kenya's moral fabric on matters, same-sex relations.
All right, Peter. The church organizations and the civil societies which are against this particular community had said they will go to court to seek a review, and I think directions were given, but the review is yet to be done.
Yes.
But the argument was that a 3-judge bench cannot decide to taint our moral fabric just because they deem so. They say the 3-judge bench gave themselves so much power in terms of interfering with our way of doing things in what we know is right and wrong. Now, from where you sit, given that it was the apex court and it made a decision, did it take too much mandate or too much power when it comes to these particular issues? And when we say the issue of freedom of association, doesn't it have a barrier to say that it cannot go beyond this particular point because this is not our way of doing things, so to speak? Or is it just general to say that it can triple over to vices just because it's a right to association?
To start with, on your first point of whether a 3-judge bench can sit on matters of a huge magnitude that affects Kenyans, we have to acknowledge that this is grounded in our constitution, because the constitution provides that Kenyans can exercise their mandate in 3 ways. One is directly through voting. The other way is through our legislature, through our members of parliament, and the other way is through the judiciary. So whether it's a 3-judge bench or a 5-judge bench or a 7-judge bench, they are mandated and they get their grounding from the constitution. So they have every right to make decisions, and just to point out, their decisions are not from a vacuum. Their decisions are always well reasoned out, taking into account submissions by both the petitioners, the respondents, and so it will be wrong to criticize a bench of judges for making a decision.
But where do we draw the line in terms of freedom of association? If at all we feel that this particular community is not allowed to thrive in the Kenyan setup, yet we are the same people who voted in the constitution that gave each and every person the right to associate. Where do we draw the line when it comes to ethics vis-a-vis the rights?
Yeah, I think there's a huge lacuna, there's a huge gap. Yeah, and I think that can only be remedied through legislation, through our members of parliament. I think it's for them to come up with legislations or recommendations on the way forward with regards to the issue. Consider it because it's something that it's actually affecting Kenya and a majority of Kenyans. Yeah. And we can't just ignore it.
Okay. Peter, you mentioned at the commencing of the show that the court, when they made their judgment concerning this particular community, they said, if anything, cases being reported in the police stations in terms of these are lesbians or these are gays, they are minimal. Actually, rarely will you go to a court of law and find two gays, standing at the court, being, accused of being gays and lesbians. But it is the same country where we are trying to bar them, but these cases are not being reported. Is it from a point of lack of legislation, or is it from a point of threshold of evidence? Why are these cases not reported to shun it, but at the same time we want to inhibit them? Yet we should be reporting so that we curb it from that particular point instead of, infringing them. Yet again, when we see these cases, we don't actually report them.
That's an interesting question. I'll say actually on that aspect, the court actually took judicial notice. Judicial notice is basically it observed the way Kenya does it, goes about its thing. So, and it noted that, we see lesbians, we see people coming out to be homosexuals, but we're not seeing anyone reporting them. And so, I'll say, actually, there's actually a challenge with that, because if, say, no one is reporting that, we're not seeing, say, lesbians or gays being arraigned in court, what's the way forward?
The interesting thing about, sex is an act, right? So, and it's an act that is done it's a hidden act, so to speak. So, it's rarely that you would find two lesbians or two gays in public to sort of report that. It is mostly done in confined spaces. Is it from that particular point that sex between same sex is a hidden act, therefore the threshold of evidence is quite hard to get? Or is it from a point of what the legislation mechanisms that are there for you to find enough evidence to ensure somebody is behind bars because of this particular vice is too high? Is it because it's hidden, or the threshold of evidence is too high to ensure that some of these perpetrators are brought to book?
I think, as you've alluded, same-sex sex is a hidden act, and persons who are doing same-sex acts or same-sex sexual activities, they're doing it in the confines of their rooms. And so it will be absurd if someone went and reported that they did. It will be quite absurd. So I'll say, I think that's the challenge, because who is to report that? Because two people are doing this, so is it the other person? Because, though in the bill proposed by Peter Kaluma, he's just suggesting some really draconian measures. One of the things he's suggesting is that Kenyans should take matters into their own hand and apprehend any person purporting to be a member of the LGBTQ community. One of the things he's saying is that if, say, you've seen wearing a rainbow armband,
it's enough to
whether you're wearing a rainbow armband or you're acting in such a way that you can be said to be gay or lesbian, Kenyans should apprehend you and take matters into their own hand. I've not interacted really with the bill, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this is to be done, because in a country that respects the rule of law and democracy, I think that's a wrong way, because already these people are facing, say, violence, you know,
in their hidden communities.
Exactly,
So it sort of creates a situation of a mob justice thing, and when you find them, even that to report them, it's a long process. You'll find yourself dealing with that person at that particular point instead of using the protection mechanism. Now, which begs the question, if we cannot report these cases because it's hidden, it's a hidden act, so it's really hard to find evidence on this, then why has been the outcry concerning our children at a young age getting confused on whether they like same-sex or heterosexual? We have mentioned the issue of content, but there have been claims of radicalization of children and the youth to join this particular group. There have been allegations that money has been poured to ensure this group, sell their agenda. We saw recently a school in Kajiado County which was closed due to increased cases of lesbianism. Then can this war be taken from a point of radicalization? If at all you don't want them to thrive, then what are the stringent measures that can be put in place to inhibit the radicalization of these particular groups? Is it an issue of laxity that now this thing is seeming in through radicalization of our groups and our young people?
Okay, I think it's a thorny issue, and so to address this thing, I think it will need a multi-sector approach to start with our religious leaders, our parents, also our schools, our education systems. And so, in as much as we are acknowledging that, yes, these people deserve a place in our society, and they deserve not to be subjected to, say, violence or to discrimination. We also want to protect, yes, in as much as they need to have a space, they also need to protect the space of those who don't want to conform to ways of LGBTQ. So I think the balance is quite a thorny issue, but I think it's something we need to address, and it will take a multi-sector approach.
All right. Now, in terms of the way we handle things as a nation, especially when it comes to vices, somebody will say enforcement measures in terms of stringent laws, in terms of strict punishment is the way to go. But when it comes to the issue of vices and issues we grapple with surrounding that, we have seen sometimes a soft approach in terms of counseling, in terms of outreach sort of missions have helped to deal with this particular situation. Case in point, when you had the HIV and AIDS, which was a huge thing, when it came to deal with ensuring that people don't get into those vices, they used a soft approach in terms of ensuring that you don't stigmatize them, ensuring that you counsel them, ensuring that you have these particular conversations. But here in Kenya, even the religious communities which are against this particular vice, they don't talk about it, which leaves the youth to be exposed to conversations that they should not be exposed to, because those who are louder are those who are advocating for it. Those who do not want to advocate for it don't want to talk about it. They just want to say it's bad. They don't want to go the longer mile. Away from the legal aspect of it, looking into the social aspect of it, can this now be the conversation that ensures that we deal with this issue on that particular front, given that the legal measures are not quite, working out? I think it's only Kaluma, and the bill, I think it was in draft stage. It is not yet in the first reading, that has come out to have a bold conversation concerning this. Is the soft approach in terms of social aspect the way to go on this particular issue, given that the legal mechanism is not quite holding a grip on the situation?
Yes, I think I agree with you that in this case, a soft approach will actually kind of provide a way to this issue. like you've said, say counseling. So say for these people who are coming out to say that they are members of this community, including, say, the younger ones who are kids or people of tender years, it's high time, say, schools or, say, universities created safe spaces for these people to come out and to kind of express, like,
because it seems like it's kind of confusion. There's some who are not quite sure that they're part of that group or they're in this other group, and that confusion now leaves them exposed to the first person to capture them in the midst of that confusion. Is that why now we should have that particular conversation?
Yes, I think so. That's why we need to have that conversation. We need to really define what is it. We need to try to remove stigma around people associated with these communities, and say you could have been introduced to these groups, say out of lack of knowledge, and maybe taken to counseling and advised on ways to get out of these vices. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Peter. We'll be taking our second break right now, but once we come, we'll be having the final segment and looking into what's the way forward concerning this particular issue, given that there's been some hush-hush among people who are against it and somewhat radicalization from people who are for it. Do stay with us.
Lola ni programu inayokupa fursa ya kutizama video zozote pindi tu unapokuwa na nafasi. Hadithi za kukupa motisha, drama, maisha ya vyuo vikuu, teknolojia, masuala ya jamii, kuzuru maeneo tofauti, spoti, burudani na zaidi. Pata programu ya Lola sasa kwenye rununu yako kwa yote unayohitaji.
Many thanks for staying with us. We are having a discussion on LGBTQ plus community, an issue that has caused a moral panic here in the country when you look into the issue of whether they can be allowed to have a space here in the country. And on this final segment of this particular discussion, we're looking into what's the way forward concerning this particular issue. Is it about time we have discussion and allow the community to thrive, or should we shun it because we are largely a religious nation and both Christians and Muslims have said no to this particular community? Peter, when we look into the way forward concerning this particular issue, we're looking at it from a point of the laws and the social aspect. And I want us to look at the law aspect of it. What has governed us over time is the colonial era laws that were there in the 1950s and 60s before independence. But 58 years on, 59 years on actually, we have had changes into the constitution in the issues affecting different groups. But this particular group, which is a new phenomena, as I will call it, still we are still not having that particular conversation. Given that we have mentioned that this is a social offense and it doesn't affect people in terms of being in a criminal aspect, when you look into the laws that should be put to inhibit this particular group if at all we are inhibiting it? Should it be strict, as we have seen in other countries, say in Uganda, whereby they're saying they should be hanged? And you have heard Museveni say that if I put 2 gays in a room and they don't, one of them is not pregnant, there should be some explanation there. Should we have strict laws to create sort of fear or to inhibit this particular issue that is termed as a vice by some?
As you pointed out, the laws say the penal code. They've carried it from the colonial times. And we see that in itself, our penal code in itself is quite harsh because it provides for a minimum of 14 years imprisonment and up to 21 years if you're liable for the offense of committing something that's considered against the order of nature. But even in Uganda, so to say, I doubt the efficacy of those stringent laws in addressing this particular issue. My biggest challenge now is considering the world. You see, for instance, in the United States, you see that they have 54 states. Some states have chosen to decriminalize sexuality or gayism, while others have resorted to taking the hard stance. But the biggest challenge has been considering some people have been saying heterosexual people or people who are considered straight, they have not been coming out and saying say their rights have been violated or anything. So and some people are also saying that by having these people coming out openly or say advocating for their rights, how do we protect those people and say the younger people who don't understand what is really right and wrong? So I think in say coming with these legislations, we need a great balance to ensure that the rights of those people who are considered heterosexuals and also the rights of those people who are considered homosexuals, they exist in harmony.
When the penal code says that if a person is found to be committing their natural act, that is same-sex, they should be jailed for 14 to 21 years. Remember, this is a constitution that it's a law that was there pre-colonial era. Did they foresee that this will be an issue? Because then you would highly unlikely imagine that such a thing could happen. But even then, they put in place laws to curb, instances where we will see that particular issue happening. Is it something that has been there that we have not talked about? Or is it something that was just put in place to say, the opposite of this is this, so if you have said this is right and you're doing the opposite of this, now you're on the wrong? Is it an issue of the opposite, or is it an issue of they foresaw that we can get to that particular point?
Several literatures dating back to many years ago shown evidence that homosexuality has been there for quite some time. It's not something that has just come out of the blues. So it has been there, but it has been hushed upon. It has been something that has been frowned upon generally by the society. And so I think that's why they saw it wise to criminalize it. But we are coming to a time where now it's being openly accepted. And so now there's a challenge. Especially in African countries where we still consider it to be against our cultural norms and beliefs. See, as compared to the Western world where they are taking a softer stance towards it.
All right. As what we call evolution happens, because most of the time, some of the things that you have changed is because of what we call a wave from the Western countries, I beg your pardon, coming all the way to African countries. Some of the times we are pushed to accept these things as a norm, and other times we just find ourselves having what we call, evolution and having a change of things or way of doing things. Right now, we might be shunning from having this particular discussion, but looking at the way things are changing and the way we're embracing westernization and all what is happening, from where you sit, do you foresee a situation whereby 10, 20 years later, we might be pushed to embrace this particular community, given that even our leaders are not quite aggravated by this particular discussion, even when they have been quite religious. Case in point, our President William Ruto.
So I think you and me can acknowledge that currently the world is a global village. Whatever is happening in USA, whatever is happening in China, we can be able to see it from here. So there's a challenge. We can't live in isolation of whatever is happening around the world. And in as much as we might try to come up with draconian laws, we might try to come up with draconian legislations, now how do we protect our territory from invasion of, say, content from other jurisdictions that we're not? Yes, and again, the extent that, say, the country, or say our laws and say our police, or say we have the right to privacy, right? So they can't come into your house to look into what you're watching or what your kid is watching. So I'll say it's quite a thorny issue, and it's like you've alluded, come say, in as much as at the moment we are all in agreement that our cultural values and norms actually are against this community, come say 20 to 30 years, it might be time to relook into this.
All right. Now, finally, Peter, because we're pressed on time, what will be your way forward concerning this particular issue so that communities do not sort of clash and we don't have so much political noise and cultural noise or social noise in our circles due to this particular debate? What's the way forward?
My way forward will be, I think I'll stick to what our courts have said. Our courts have said that sections 162, 163, and 165 of our Constitution, the Penal Code, they have found them not to be really unconstitutional because they feel, in the case that was brought to the courts, that it does not really violate the rights of this community, say, to associate. But again, these people need to be given a room, like they need to be given a room in Kenya, in the sense that they need not to be subjected to violence or to stigmatization or to, I'll say violence and stigmatization just based on their sexual orientation. So we'll need reforms legally. There are suggestions that Section 162, 163, and 165 say need to be repealed. But I don't have a say in that. I think the court can only decide on that. Okay.
Thank you so much, Peter Njoroge, for your input concerning this particular conversation and how far we have to go. It is a discussion that we can have much, much more of when we look into the issues surrounding the law and what the Constitution say concerning this particular matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
All right.
I'm actually delighted.
All right, thank you so much. All right, the LGBTQ plus community, from where you sit, religious leaders say this is the beginning of end times. From what the people of civil societies are saying, it is about embracing humanities, and the cultural leaders are saying this is purely an abomination. You get to choose your cup of tea concerning this particular issue, concerning this particular debate. As here at Law Matters, we're just giving you an input concerning what the law says and where we have to go and what we should do as a nation concerning this particular group so that we don't clash when it comes to moral issues and what the law says. Many thanks indeed for making time for this particular show. My name is IRENE MWANGI. Have a splendid night.